Okay, I need you to guess something before I tell you. Guess what car outsold every single Tesla on the planet last month? Go on. Guess. If you said an SUV, you're half right. If you said a pickup truck, you're getting warmer. But the actual answer is a car most people under 30 have probably never even sat in. And it just posted its best month in years. Meanwhile, in one country, a literal factory fire rearranged an entire sales chart overnight. In another country, electric cars just crossed a line nobody thought they'd hit this fast. And in America, the truck wars are getting weird. So if you actually want to know what people are buying right now, not what's trending on car TikTok, not what auto journalists wish you'd buy, but what real money is going toward in showrooms across the world, stick around. This is the June 2026 global car sales breakdown, and honestly, some of these numbers surprised me too. Let's get into it. Let's zoom all the way out first, because the global numbers tell a story that's different from what you'd expect if you only watch American car reviews or only scroll European car forums. Looking at the worldwide picture through the first half of 2026, the car that's actually leading the entire planet in sales isn't a truck, and it isn't an SUV. It's the Toyota Corolla. Yes, the Corolla, the car your driving instructor probably used, the car that's been the punchline of boring but reliable jokes for 2 decades, is the single best-selling car on Earth right now, holding roughly 1.2% of the entire global market. And it's not just holding steady, it's actually growing, with solid gains coming out of both Asia and the Americas. Now here's where it gets interesting. Sitting in second place globally and closing the gap fast is the Tesla Model Y. This is a genuinely big deal because the Model Y jumped up 2 spots and grew nearly 30% year over year. That's not a small bump. That's the kind of growth number that makes automakers nervous. And it wasn't just one region carrying that growth either. The Model Y posted gains in America and Asia and in Europe all at the same time. That's a global rebound, not a regional blip. Third place worldwide goes to a name that probably won't shock you. The Ford F-Series. The F-Series has been an absolute institution in the pickup truck world for what feels like forever. And it's still holding a full % of total global market share. But, and this is worth noting, it's actually down close to 12% compared to last year, with real weakness showing up in both Asia and Europe. So even the king of trucks is feeling some pressure right now. Rounding out the rest of the global top 10, you've got the Honda CR-V in 4th, the Chevrolet Silverado in 5th, the Toyota RAV4 in 6th, although that one's had a rough year, down nearly 38%, more on that in a second, the Hyundai Tucson in 7th, the Toyota Camry in 8th, the Volkswagen Tiguan climbing 3 spots into 9th, and the Kia Sportage closing out the top 10. And on the electric vehicle side specifically, even though overall EV sales dipped slightly worldwide through the first half of the year, down about 5%, the Model Y didn't just hold on, it actually gained market share within the EV segment itself, now commanding 8% of all EV sales globally. Second place in the EV world goes to the Geely Xingyuan, a name a lot of Western audiences still haven't heard of but which is absolutely massive in China. And rounding out the EV top 3 is the Tesla Model 3, though it did slip a spot and lost about a third of its previous share. So that's the whole planet in a nutshell. Toyota dominance in traditional cars, Tesla clawing back ground in EVs, and Ford still leading trucks but showing cracks. Now let's break down what's actually happening market by market because trust me, some of these regional stories are wild. Let's start with America, because the story here for the first half of 2026 has a genuine twist in it. The number 1 and number 2 best-selling vehicles in the entire United States are exactly what you'd expect if you've paid any attention to this market over the last decade. The Ford F-Series in 1st, and the Chevrolet Silverado in 2nd. Trucks are still king in America. That has not changed. But here's the interesting part. Both of these trucks actually sold in lower volumes this year compared to last year. The king is still the king, but the throne's getting a little wobbly. Now here's the twist. The most popular SUV in America right now, and by some counts actually the best-selling passenger vehicle in the entire country during the second quarter, is the Honda CR-V. Think about that for a second. Not a truck. Not a Toyota. The Honda CR-V. It's been quietly building momentum, and now it's arguably outselling everything on the market except the 2 big trucks. Meanwhile, the Toyota RAV4, which for years was basically glued to the top of every American sales chart that wasn't a pickup truck, has been going through it lately. It's climbing back up the rankings after a rough patch caused by a full model changeover. If you don't know the car industry, a model change dip basically means The old version stopped selling because everyone knew a new one was coming, and the new version hasn't fully ramped up production yet. So the RAV4's low numbers this year aren't really about people not wanting it. It's a supply problem, not a demand problem. Once Toyota gets factories fully cranking on the new generation, expect the RAV4 to come storming right back to the top. On the sedan side of things, and yes, sedans are still alive, contrary to what social media wants you to believe, the Toyota Camry was America's best-selling traditional passenger car through the first half of the year, and it actually posted a strong year-over-year gain, climbing comfortably into the overall top 5 nationally. Right behind it, the Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic both posted healthy increases too. All three of these sedans actually grew faster than the overall market did. That's a real signal. After years of everyone declaring the sedan dead, buried, replaced entirely by crossovers, sedans are quietly clawing back some relevance in America. One more name worth mentioning here. The Nissan Rogue. It's had one of the strongest percentage gains of any model in the entire top 10 this year, which is honestly one of the bigger surprise stories coming out of the US market in 2026. Nobody was really talking about the Rogue heading into this year, and now it's one of the fastest climbing names on the whole chart. Zooming out on the bigger picture, General Motors was the top vehicle producer overall in America for the first half of 2026, but Toyota was the top-selling individual car brand. And that Tesla asterisk you might have noticed, Tesla doesn't report sales the same transparent way traditional automakers do. But by most industry estimates, the Model Y is very likely sitting inside that overall top 10 as well, even without an official confirmed number. So if you're keeping score for America, trucks still rule, but they're softening. Honda's quietly having an incredible year. Toyota's sedans are staging a comeback nobody predicted. And the RAV4's slump is temporary, not terminal. Now let's hop over to the UK, because this is where June 2026 got genuinely historic. In June specifically, more than 1 in every 4 cars registered in Britain was either a plug-in hybrid or a regular hybrid. That's 26.5% of the entire market running on some form of electrification. But the real headline number is this. Fully electric cars hit 30% of the total market in June. 3 out of every 10 new cars sold in the UK last month were pure EVs. That's a 35% jump compared to the same month the year before, and it's the single biggest increase of any fuel type tracked. Now, halfway through 2026, electric vehicles make up a full quarter of the entire new car market in Britain. That sounds like an incredible win, and in a lot of ways it is, but it's still trailing the 33% target the UK government set under its zero-emission vehicle mandate. And according to a recent industry survey, every single automotive leader who responded said they think the mandate's ultimate 2030 target, where 80% of all new car sales are supposed to be electric, is basically unachievable at the current pace. So there's real progress here, but also a real gap between political targets and market reality. So which specific car is driving all of this? Unsurprisingly, it's the Tesla Model Y sitting at number 1 for June. And what's interesting is just how it won. The Model Y didn't just edge out its closest competitor, it outsold it by over 1,000 units in a single month. That competitor, sitting comfortably at number 2, is the Tesla Model 3. So Tesla isn't just winning the EV race in Britain, Tesla is running first and second at the same time. That's a genuinely dominant month for one manufacturer. The recommended trim on the Model Y, if you're shopping, is the premium long-range rear-wheel drive version, which officially manages a range figure just over 380 miles, right up there with some of its toughest competition. The Model 3 does even better on paper, with its slipperier shape helping it reach an official range closer to 466 miles, making it one of the longest-range electric cars you can buy in the UK right now. And it actually picked up an Executive Car of the Year award at a major awards show earlier this year. But it's not a two-horse race across the whole top 10. One name worth calling out is the MG HS. This isn't the two-seat sports car MG built its reputation on decades ago. This is a proper family SUV now, available either as a pure petrol or as a plug-in hybrid. And the plug-in hybrid version specifically was named Plug-in Hybrid of the Year for 2026, largely because it can travel up to 75 miles on electric power alone before the petrol engine even needs to kick in. That's further than most of its direct rivals. So here's the UK story in one sentence. SUVs have officially overtaken traditional saloons at the top of the charts, electrification just crossed a genuinely historic threshold, and Tesla is having an absolutely dominant run at the very top of the electric car conversation. And now, arguably the wildest story of the four markets we're covering, India. June 2026 in India was a month where operational reality mattered more than product desirability. Let me explain what I mean by that. Hyundai's Chennai manufacturing plant got hit by a fire that shut down production for 22 straight days. 22 days. That single event knocked an estimated 13,900 units clean off Hyundai's monthly sales, and it opened the door wide for competitors to run away with the month. Meanwhile, Maruti Suzuki also had a scheduled week-long maintenance shutdown across its production facilities during June, which dented sales on several of its own models too, even as the company posted genuinely record-breaking overall numbers elsewhere in its lineup. So who actually won the month? Tata Motors in a big way. Tata posted 69% growth in passenger car sales for June, and its Punch and Nexon models actually dethroned the long-reigning Maruti Dzire from its usual perch at the top of the compact segment. The Dzire, which for years has been one of India's most dependable sellers, slipped all the way to third place in June. It still posted a respectable 15.6% growth year-over-year, but it sold over 6,000 fewer units than it had just the month before, largely because of that Maruti maintenance shutdown eating into production capacity. Down in fourth place, the Maruti Wagon R jumped 3 spots. And here's a fun little detail. In June, Maruti launched an E85-compatible Bioflex version of the Wagon R, making it the only production spec car on sale in India right now that can run on that particular ethanol blend fuel. That's a genuinely unique selling point in a market where most manufacturers are still figuring out their exact green fuel strategy. The Maruti Ertiga held on to its title as India's best-selling MPV, even though it dropped 2 ranking spots to 5th place, again due to that same production shutdown limiting how many units could actually reach dealerships. 6th place went to the Maruti Swift, which actually managed to outsell its own more premium Nexa-branded siblings, the Baleno and the Franx. Interesting, because that suggests Indian buyers are leaning toward value and practicality over slightly fancier trim packages right now. 7th place is the only 3-row SUV on this particular list, the Mahindra Scorpio, combining both its more rugged classic version and its modern N version into one combined sales figure. It climbed 2 spots to get there, even with the lowest year-over-year growth rate of anything in the top 10, sitting at 10%. And then in 10th place, replacing Hyundai's own Creta. Remember, Hyundai's whole month was disrupted by that factory fire, is the Hyundai Venue, a compact SUV that actually became Hyundai's own best-selling model in the country for June, posting 58% growth year-over-year, which was the 3rd highest growth rate on the entire list. So even in a month where its own factory caught fire, Hyundai still managed to have one genuine bright spot. Zooming out on India as a whole, Tata's passenger car growth, Maruti's record-breaking overall numbers, and Mahindra's strong showing paint the picture of a country where car buyers are actively upgrading and spending right now. But it's also a month that proves something important about how these charts work. Sometimes the best-selling car isn't necessarily the one people want the most that month. Sometimes it's simply the one that had a factory that didn't catch fire. So, pulling all 4 of these markets together, what's the actual big picture takeaway from June 2026? First, Toyota is quietly having one of the most dominant stretches of any single car manufacturer on the planet right now, leading globally with the Corolla, holding multiple spots in America's top 10, and posting real growth almost everywhere it competes. Second, Tesla's comeback is real, and it's not confined to one region. The Model Y is winning globally, winning in the UK specifically, and very likely sitting quietly in America's own top 10 despite Tesla's less transparent reporting. Third, trucks are still enormous business in America specifically, but even the F-150 and Silverado are showing some softness. Nothing lasts forever at the very top. And fourth, production problems, whether that's a factory fire in Chennai or a scheduled shutdown in Gujarat, can completely scramble a sales chart in ways that have nothing to do with what customers actually want. Sometimes the best-selling car of the month title comes down to logistics as much as desired. So that's the full global picture for June 2026. From Toyota's quiet world domination, to Tesla's comeback tour, to a literal fire reshuffling an entire country's sales chart. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, do me a solid and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are into this stuff just as much as you are. And if you want me tracking these numbers every single month, going market by market, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment and let me know. Which one of these surprised you the most? The Honda CR-V quietly beating everything but the big trucks in America? Tesla running 1-2 in the UK? Or that factory fire completely rewriting India's entire chart in 1 month? I'll see you in the next one.